God does something about that advancement. If you have a business that means so much than God, God sees that as an idol, so He fight that business. If you have a girl or you have a guy that means more than God, God does something. There is nothing wrong with the person. But God realized that that's the thing that occupies the primitive position in your heart. If your ministry or anything takes more position than God Himself, He begins to cause things to happen to you that will make you return back to Him. So God realized that these men have deprived from Him. So He cast something to them. And one of the things He has to do is to shut down their rain, their supply of water. And He has to beckon upon one of His choice servants, which is Elijah. Elijah has been known to always do the biddings of God. And he appeared like a man from no man's land. He came to the scene strangely. He said, as long as the Lord liveth upon whom I stand, there shall neither be rain nor dew until at my word again. And suddenly it shut down. And I know that the kings of those times have the advantage of Chaldeans, astrologers, magicians. They have the advantage of all kinds of governing powers on the earth system. So they must have beckoned upon all of them to bring rain, and they could not. That is the reason why they bowed to Elijah at the tail end, because they tried their best. If you know, some of us came from villages where there are rainmakers. It will shock and surprise you how they can bring rain, no matter how you do. And sometimes when they want to attack weddings, attack occasion, they brought rain. And if you study science, rain is nothing. It's just a formation of quite some few things. You realize that? Water is just hydrogen and oxygen. You can create artificial rain. I learned of a country that creates rain. They release those gases in the atmosphere after a while rain fall. So when God wants to create rain, God supplied those things in abundance. Do you know God is the one that actually created everything? So the rain you see coming, sometimes even when you are flying, you discover that rain is falling on the here. But when you are in the plane, you don't even know rain is falling. So you still see the sky open. So where does it come? It's God that ensures that those elements combine together and they fall. I don't get my point now. It's not as if there's a place they are falling in. No, it's just a combination of certain elements for it to fall. So we can form rain here if we bring the required under the required atmosphere. Do you know what I'm saying now? But by the power of God, a man stopped rain, and all their scientific understanding and their spiritual understanding could not bring rain. But we saw something very profound that was not given light in that book of Kings. It was James that had an understanding. And he said, Elijah is a man of like passion like you and I, right? And he prayed earnestly that there should not be rain. But we thought Elijah just came and decreed that let there be no rain. That means before Elijah came to the scene and said let there be no rain, he actually had a time and a moment of prayer. Are you getting my point? So we saw what happened in the backside. It was James that gave us an understanding of that. Because James saw in the vista of the Spirit. He might not have been around when Elijah was doing it, but he saw in the vistas, in that same realm upon which he beckoned upon rain. He said Elijah was a man of like passion like you and I, but he prayed earnestly that there should not be rain. So it then means that Elijah saw the level of atrocity in that land, and he felt, God, this is the greatest thing you can do that will make everybody wonder. Cease their rain. And God said, well, if you can pay the price for it, I will cease the rain. So Elijah decided to go pay the price. So Elijah prayed earnestly that there should not be rain. And as he prayed earnestly that there should not be rain, when he felt that his prayer has struck a chord in the Spirit, he came and stood and made the declaration as a powerful man. And of course, the rain stopped for 3.5 years. But do you know that since the rain stopped, him too need provision? He's still under the heavens. So he's still on the earth, under the heavens, right? He's not in the heavens, he's under the heavens. It then means that him to survive by this same ecosystem. So now how does he have to survive? God has to find a way to provide to him through ravens and the rest. But when the moment was complete, that same protocol he engaged, he has to engage it again. My question here is that how did those people survive for this long without rain? If one season of rain is missing in Nigeria, do you know how much the price of goods will increase? Because when there is no rain, a time comes that even the rivers begin to dry. A time comes when by nature there will be drought. That means at that moment the price of everything, cash crops, increase so well. Only the king does not have famine because the king has a lot of supply. But Elijah himself was fed by ravens. But what we saw here was that somehow God achieved his aim. Because at the tail end, men begin to seek for God. They begin to pray to God. Because when men pray to their idol of faith, they begin to seek for another God. Because the men that worship idols are not really devoted to the idol as we think. They are just looking for an advantage. No wonder in the book of Acts of the Apostles stepped into a land and they found the people having all kinds of altars. And they even have another altar dedicated to an unknown God. That peradventure, one day will realize there's a new God. This is the altar already prepared for it. And when the apostles step into a land, they begin to tell them about an unknown God. So they added that God to the other catalogs of God. But after a while, they realized that this unknown God is actually the one true God. So in their pursuit, just like in the land of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar is the one that will gather all kinds of magicians, astrologers, sorcerers, and say, okay, let's add this Daniel too with his own God. At the tail end, they will do a conquest. And whom actually that is God is proven to be the strongest, become the head of all the gods. They will not throw away those other gods, but you will just be the head of all those gods. So Daniel still manage other gods, although I went to a crusade in Kogi State. I don't know people are from Kogi State, but it's a terrible state, especially the Shekinah Kingdom. If you are from there, you need to travel. All those Shekinah axes. It took time for our brothers them to come up, because the level of atrocity of the carnality of darkness is strong. And many of them, it's Coca-Cola they used to sell their destiny. Their parents went to the idols and bow and say, just prosper me. Instead of them to give the sacrifice of Coca-Cola, they exchange it for their, because many of those gods, they ban Coca-Cola or blood of chicken. So, but you can vow the life of your children. Say, if you don't have Coca-Cola, if you don't have cola nuts, if you don't have chicken, you can say, okay, this is my womb. So many of those women, how do they do it? They go there and menstruate in the shrine. Every house has a shrine. long as that place is concerned, this place can never be a gateway to hear him again. And to the priest of that region, I have caused havoc, and he came to kill me. That was when I realized that there are higher assassins in the realm of the spirit. There are demons that come to attack you. They don't talk, but when they stand, they are enough terror. Principalities don't need to talk. They just stand. When they stand, they unleash their energy. And suddenly I found myself begin to cry. For days I could not sleep. So I have to stay away with my eye like this. Because anytime I close my eyes, a prince comes. And when they appear, high level of torment. I felt my life has finished. They will ensure that even Jesus I can't come. I shout Jesus, Jesus can't come. So I felt, okay, I gather Bibles. So before I sleep, I will gather all the Bibles in my house. One in my leg, one in the other leg, one in my hand. Some I make them as pillows, different version in case anyone fail. And I took the book, I used to have encounters, and I keep it by the other side. I write, and I open where I saw Jesus. And I lie. When those princes come, they will come and sit upon that same Bible and that book, and they will knock my head. The only way for me was for me to stay awake. Fear and terror. And it grew worse. They now beckon upon the priestesses of their altars. Many of you who have dream, a lady you know coming to sleep with you, that's easy. What about when a beast comes that has 5 heads and 3 horns? What about when something that looks like a cat or like a dog comes? And suddenly, the priestesses of the altars got so angry. And they came every night. Anytime I try to sleep, I will see 3 ladies with their mother, with their queen will come. I don't know how they pass through the wall of the house and they will appear. When they appear, they will laugh. Have you seen a demon laugh before? Hey! That laugh is so ugly. It's to tell you how much you are in danger. When they appear, they will laugh at me. When they laugh at me very well, and they will turn, one will turn to a cat, one will turn to a lizard, one will turn to a snake, and their mother will wait first. All of them were forced to sleep with me one by one, and there is nothing I can do. And that was me, a man that wrote in the daytime. I knew I needed something higher than what I knew. Many ministers are going through untold oppression because they have not known the hand of the Lord. I came to a point where the knowledge I know failed me just because I went and challenged a principality. Just because I went to a territory and I taught something that was against the principle of my existence within the governing authority. I never knew why pastors in that region never want to try those shrine people. So you see a church and you still see a shrine. I say, no, let's break it. Let's defile it. Let's do this. No problem. They beg us. One old man came out from that place. He said, let's not touch anything here. He said, before we were born, this thing exists. And their grandparents drank water from this pot. And that is why them too are drinking. But I saw that, peradventure, many people will graduate from the city and return back to Kogi and went back to the village and sit down going to farm every day. It's not as, some of them graduate as best students, but something still pushed them back to the village. And I knew that there is a curse somewhere, and he's sitting upon an antiquity of an altar. And an evangelist came that said, no, let's break it. The man said, people will die if you break it. I said, no, nobody will die. You will be the one to die. The man said, no problem. He was holding a stick like that, he moved and navigated his way to one ancient house that is all this kind of house that is very old. One part dilapidated. And he entered and rest. We were done with everything. As we come in our car accident, some of our siblings, some of the people that we went with, we just returned. Father died. This one happened. This one happened. So me, my operation was long. So from that very day, it was as though my life was under attack by an entire ecosystem of princes that I knew nothing about them. And my question every day was, where is Jesus? Have you came to a point where we shout, Jesus refused to come? Hey. The hand of the Lord. Because the hand of the Lord itself is power. I'm not talking about the power you are shouting every day you have power. There is an inner working of the power of God that itself preserves his own. That was what I needed, not the power for demonstration. It's an eternal power that is upon the strength of an authority of God. In the book of Psalms 110, he said, the Lord said to my Lord, sit down at my right hand until I make thy enemy thy footstool. Immediately when the believers were challenged in the book of Acts chapter 4, the Bible said they gathered together and began to pray, and they asked God, they beckoned upon him, O God of heaven, behold the threat of these people, and grant that let your hand be revealed, so that by many signs and wonders. These men were men of power. These men knew God. But a time came that they were challenged. There was a kind of situation that beclouded them. And what they needed was not what they knew, but they needed the supply of something that is the hand of the authority of God. I realized that there is a right hand of God, there is the left hand of God. All of them are the hand of power, but one of the power lies with you, the other one lies with him. The left hand may be the power he gave to you, but the right hand is the power that he sustained in himself. So when God wanted to kill a man like Moses, he used another power that Moses did not know. You thought Moses did not fight to live? Moses would have fought to live. But when God, who is power, come against you, what will you do? Come and die. And the devil knew that a prince went down. And the devil said, okay, can we go and claim this guy's body? Peradventure, if we do some little scientific excavation, we can find the hand of God, which is power, that is deposited upon the body of Moses. And God looked and said, Kai, before the devil will journey into that same realm of power that he was cast down from. Because if the devil could have captured the body of Moses, he would return back to heaven. You think the devil don't want to go back to heaven? There's a demarcation. And there is something, a technology that it cannot be given to you. There is no gateway. So if Moses can ascend, Elijah can ascend, Elijah can ascend. There is something inside of their element that make them have that access. So the devil was trying to look for a body of a being that has become an immortal so that he can journey through it.